Alright, there we go. Alright, hello Internet, X Factor 1080 here, and welcome to another reaction video. We're going back to Casual Geographic here. This time we're going to be reacting to top 10 animals with Black Air Force energy. Now, oh boy. Yeah, and for those who don't know what Black Air Force energy is, it's basically, it's the way of saying someone doesn't give a fuck. Like, and those words are, whenever I see that term, Black Air Force energy, I always see it paired to like, an anime character like, say, Kid Buu from Dragon Ball Z, or Madara Uchiha from Naruto, or frickin' Yujiro Hanma from Baki. Yeah. So yeah, 10 most disrespectful animals. You know, there are times where animals do get pretty disrespectful. Like when one of my cats decided to jump on my laptop to stop the recording while I'm doing my Let's Play for Dead Rising 2. Or when my dog decides to get frisky with my other dog whenever I can go to take him outside. Or that one YouTube video where that freaking kangaroo jumped on that dude's car and damaged his windshield. So yeah. Nature's scary. Yeah. I still love animals though. Especially this kitty right here. It's a good kitty right there. Alright, well anyways, we're enough jibber jabber, let's get to the reaction. Top 10 animals with Black Air Force energy. Here we go. Up. Right off the gate, we got kangaroos.
Black Air Force energy. Good old Urban Dictionary defines it as a person or an object that has
Escanor, Sephiroth, Final Fantasy 7, Reddit, Black Lagoon.
Regardless of moral alignment, including its own rivals or competitors. And despite clearly taking grammar lessons from NBA Youngboy, I'd say whoever wrote that was pretty on point. It's a term I use a lot in my videos without really explaining exactly what it is. So here's a full list of the top 10 animals with the most black.
Oh, damn!
Some are an obvious pick, others might just surprise.
That was a little baby rhino. Oh my
including
god.
the animal at number 10, which might have the
Wasn't that little baby rhino that got flung up?
One place in the world. Because if this
God damn!
across the globe, it'd definitely be more.
That was a smaller rhino. That lion's face says it all.
Is what happens when an animal is too smart for everyone else's quality of life. The Kia is a large parrot that can be found terrorizing the people of New Zealand. And don't let it fool you, this Black Air Force with a Grinch colorway is an opposite.
The Grinch color.
And armed with a hook-shaped beak, which is the perfect tool for Kias to inflate insurance by picking apart cars. You see, the Kia is smart enough to associate people and the cars we drive with food, which is why.
Okay, so these little guys are assholes.
Of course, they don't just stop at cars. This feather fellow will go through purses, backpacks, duffel bags, and swipe anything they can fly away with. There was even a case where this airborne pirate stole the passport of a Scottish man that didn't want to be identified. Because no one wants to be remembered for getting denied from your home because you got your passport pickpocketed.
So they're stealing shit too. Damn.
To him, and it can happen to you. But guess what? If you happen to get your wallet snatched and try to see the Kia about it, be prepared to also eat a several $1,000 fine and even jail time. Kias are protected by the government because it only makes sense that something with wings would be above the law. And it's almost like every Kia knows it and acts accordingly. But it's not just humans getting griefed. Kias will regularly raid other birds' nests and make omelets with their unborn children.
Oh my gosh. Oh damn. Well, I'm glad that's censored. Ugh, jeez.
But at least the Kia isn't a legitimate physical threat to people. The next animal's responsible for putting more zookeepers on workers' comp than any other animal.
Man, these birds are the work of the devil right there.
The African wilderness has some of the most ways to F around and find out per square mile in the world. So it makes sense that living in the most dangerous area codes in the world has turned the zebra into an actual psychopath. This oppressed Oreo is the strongest kick in the animal kingdom, strong enough for Marty to have written Alex out of the sequel.
Damn!
Although lions body them often, every once in a while a lion has to explain to his ancestors how he got flatlined by a high-strung equality donkey. But the generational anxiety of being constantly hunted means the zebra will often one-shot something for existing too close to it. There's 2 reasons why you won't see a person riding a zebra. 1, they're too small. And 2, every zebra is fundamentally a bastard to its core. No, like literally. Because many mother zebras will actually mate with as many males as possible, because if she's shown he suspects it's not hers, he'll violently press her until it's terminated. And if the baby's already out, that's just an invitation for him to demote her from mother to mourning. And going back to humans, zebras are infamous for allegedly putting as many zoo staff in the ER as any other animal. They may look like horses whose favorite part of a birthday is the finger painting station, but this panda pony's liable to paint the block with their insides if you breathe at them the wrong way.
Damn!
You look like a barnyard animal and negotiate your left hand. And because zebras are genetically closer to donkeys than horses, calling it the ass of Africa is a scientifically accurate title. And as the default protein of many of the landlords of the savannah, it's a title they hold with pride. Cause it's the best they can get.
And zebras don't give a fuck.
Expect you treat these barcode horses
Right now I'm debating whether or not to make a Chris Rock joke.
The next animal has
Because
less
Chris Rock was the voice actor that voiced Marty, the zebra from Madagascar.
Deer manage to cause billions of dollars in damage a year by playing freeze tag with cars, and that ironically makes them the most dangerous animal in America. But where blissful ignorance makes deer a threat, the deer of Down Under initiate conflict.
Okay.
9 out of 10 car accidents.
This is Australia's deer right
A
there.
number of them are premeditated and not by the.
Oh boy, and I just referenced the kangaroo in that one video before. Like, yeah, this one. Oh gosh.
In fact, kangaroos will regularly beef with inanimate objects. But it's not just a bluff. These are some brawling marsupials.
Oh gosh!
But more importantly, a sharp dagger of a totem.
That kangaroo was jacked!
But that Jurassic pedicure disemboweled.
Damn!
Sparring session.
Drop kick the shit out of
that kangaroos start every day with this.
Oh yeah, I've seen this video too.
Just possible. If you happen to fly a drone and kangaroo, be prepared to
damn! Smack the shit out of them!
say they hate anything that flies. Can you imagine how ridiculous this could have gotten?
5-star wanted level.
Paragliding when really you survived but got mobbed by a pack of roid rabbits on impact. Kangaroos are number 8 because there's really no good reason for this. You see, as dangerous as Australia is, there aren't really any dominant apex land predators. While kangaroos often contend with dingoes and the occasional wedge-tailed eagle, a full-grown kangaroo doesn't have much that can threaten it, other than a bigger kangaroo. So what the theory is,
wow.
They got cocky. And until nature airdrops some bears or maybe
he's gonna drop kick that dude
still gonna be out here
into the water.
Try to change their mind.
I knew it!
As on-site as these malicious macropods are, they're not even the most disrespectful animal in Australia.
What's it doing over there?
We'll get to that.
Man, those kangaroos are some menaces, I ain't gonna lie.
These include the elephant, the rhinoceros,
the elephant,
the leopard, and an animal so feared it's been nicknamed Black Death. The African Cape buffalo is a walking attempt at
buffaloes.
A pair of horns to make most attempts successful. They have one of the highest KD ratios against humans with guns. In some places, these tank with road rage and 50% of the people they go after, and a lot of that is because they will actively seek revenge. There have been stories of one buffalo murking the same hunter that took out a member of its own herd. And whether you're a lion or a hunter, these trench cows get it back in blood. And the scariest version of the Cape buffalo is one that's already been injured. Hunters have followed a mortally wounded buffalo into thick brush, only for the freight train with legs to circle back and ambush them from behind. Which is why the #1 rule when hunting Cape buffalo, assume you only have one shot because that's usually all you get. But
yeah, exactly.
Seek out unsupervised lion cubs and log them out of life before they can grow up to be a threat. Not like the adults aren't at risk either. Capes will stalk and circle lone lions, using the threat of gang violence to give Mufasa a roommate. Which is how the same apex predator that can solo multiple hyenas can get sent up a tree like a house cat. They're like the Liam Neeson.
Long live the king is crazy.
That first is self-defense. Everything after that is personal choice. And even
the Tom and Jerry sounds.
It's still very much a gamble. Especially since they can travel in herds of hundreds.
Yeah, for those who've seen The Lion King, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people have.
Woman on tuner because her husband decided to have a 1-ton vibe check while the buffalo decided
you know why I said that line was crazy.
Nickname. It's a murderous mammal, but like the zebra, it's often just self-defense.
Not taking any chances.
Not like the antics of the next animal.
Whatever that was, I'm glad that
talking about the black
they probably said that.
Probably talking about crows, or really just
probably not good.
Crows are smart enough to manipulate their environment to their advantage, but they're also devious enough to manipulate other animals for their own sadistic pleasure. I don't know what that crow said in that cap, but it certainly involves someone's mother. Ravens will weaponize
damn.
Wolves to call out
so crows. are on the list too.
Especially become a problem where they've basically gone to war against the entire human population. But it's not just humans getting bullied. There might not be a an owl than in broad daylight surrounded by
man, look, these crows are gonna be harassing anybody? Damn.
And that's when they're not just straight up snatching minors in front of their parents. I think EDP just found a spirit of that. Though regular.
Oh gosh, no! Oh, not EDP, no!
Which might explain why they do the exact same thing with humans to get them to surrender whatever calories they have on them. But the avian onslaught peaks out with the Australian magpie. Now, turns out they're not actually corvids. They actually sit closer to another bird with psychopath tendencies. Either way, Australian magpies managed to be the most feared thing in a country seasoned with crocs, cassowaries, and snakes. And while most wildlife is harmless as long as you respect their space, the earth is their space, and they have no patience for trespassing. To the point where many Australians have taken to protect themselves from the magpie's malicious intent.
The bird is chasing that kid.
Where magpies
that little boy.
Anything that gets near their
that had nothing to do with it. Whatever it was.
And since corvids can remember faces, once you've been swooped, you can expect the same treatment next year. I think Tirzu said it best. Corvids are what would happen if you gave monkeys wings. But at least in the magpie's case, they're only a legitimate threat to a human way of life for the roughly 6 weeks of swooping season. Next animal is one of the biggest dangers to humans all year round. It was really only a matter of time before the river rhino made an appearance. Widely considered the world's deadliest mammal, you may have noticed that hippos weren't included in the Big Five, and I have to assume that's because nobody that has a desire to see the next day would actually hunt them. Arguably, no animal has a heart.
Hippos are on the list too.
First of all, it's not the goofy lardonkia lets you think it is. A thin subcutaneous fat layer means hippos actually walk in units. And despite their awkward appearance, hippos can outpace any human over short distances, and that includes on land and in water, where they somehow become even more territorial. Hippos have been known to lower the census totals of other animals for seemingly no reason. Just when an antelope thinks it's been bailed out, the slaughter horse does origami with its spine. And even though they're horse, every once in a while they'll give in to the temptation of taking.
Well, I would imagine hippos would have a very powerful bite strength, but damn!
Exactly they do this, but science doesn't account for an animal just being a dick. Few predators will press this obese water pig, and those hippos are so carnage happy that the biggest threat to a baby hippo is a bull hippo. It's how a hippo baby shower can legitimately end in a rain of flesh confetti. Now, to be fair,
gosh, that's horrible.
Like I said, nobody's PR team works harder. Except
he's fine, just sleeping. Yeah, sure.
Like warthogs and rhinos, the hippo's closest living relatives are actually cetaceans like dolphins and whales. But instead of making it out in the ocean, hippos decided to make a living griefing everything in its area code. And I didn't even mention the way they claim that area code.
Okay, that's disgusting.
You know, if you unsubscribe right now, I wouldn't blame you. The only thing that can make this whale Karen more of a menace than it already is if it were a straight-up predator, or if it hunted in packs. Then again, that would literally make it an animal further down this list.
Okay, hell to the no.
My personal bias was not going to keep the elephant off this list. Asian elephants especially get themselves into trouble by raiding villages and emptying out their rice supply, which is why Asian elephants are responsible for the bulk of the hashtags, especially since they can be just as vengeful as the Cape buffalo. Earlier this year, a man in Thailand had an elephant working hauling wood in the brutal heat, which is illegal. And apparently the elephant knew his rights because he proceeded to rip his boss in half. And of course, address the better than that. One elephant traveled over.
Oh gosh, what joke was he about to make?
Only to pull up to her funeral to attack the soul evicted body, this time in front of her family. The biggest mystery of mankind is what motivated a 14 pachyderm to pack up an elderly woman twice. If he had a reason, it's not like he's gonna tell us. Elephants rank over hippos because where hippos commit war crimes in the heat of passion, when an elephant catches a body, you can almost be certain it was premeditated.
Oh, damn!
That have been fragmented by poaching or
whoever that person was, he got too close, or she.
But they managed to get
he's okay, I promise. Yeah, okay.
To the point where 3 elephants in South Africa were responsible for deleting 63 rhinos as well as charging at people. Now, to be fair, poaching typically targets older bulls, and research shows that without old heads around, younger male elephants go into must a lot sooner than they should. Which I get. What I don't get is why that has to involve turning a rhino from a tight end.
What the hell?
That elephants are intelligent enough to experience every human emotion like compassion, empathy, and but for
damn, that dude got smacked in the face with the trunk.
They'd rock the biggest black Air Forces the world's ever seen. But that's only because the next animal on this list doesn't have legs. One of the biggest injustices of cinema is that where dolphins got cast
Dolphins, oh gosh.
sharks got typecast as jaws. Dolphins are the most disrespectful beings in the ocean. Makes sense because they're basically intelligent hydrodynamic hippos.
Damn.
They regularly bully sharks, use fish heads and live eels.
Oh gosh.
Acts of porpoiside, all while letting humanity think they're the good guys. They have mating practices so brutal that I probably can't even.
Oh no!
Like to do to each other, guidelines might try to do to me. But we can't talk about dolphins without talking about the biggest dolphin of all. The orca is the most dominant apex predator on the planet that isn't human. And as if sheer size and intelligence wasn't enough, they typically hunt in pods with the coordination of a wolf pack, which is how this oppressive sea oriole regularly griefs the tankiest animals on the planet. They're such a force that great whites have been known to abandon hunting grounds for up to a year once this steroid quality guppy makes an appearance. Probably because they've been known to use the shark's biology against them to rob them of their heart and liver, just to leave the rest of the shark to sink to the abyss. And then there's the fact that orcas often practice their
So was it the dolphins or I think it was the orcas
I suggest you
actually.
see what happens when a Navy SEAL joins the Air Force.
Damn.
While chalk this up to hunting strategy, there's also a chance that living life
Seagull went flying.
orcas get bored and just
Man, they are getting everything getting launched by the orca.
that hasn't stopped them from actively messing with human vessels with disturbing regularity. It's like they know who's ruining the ocean and adjust their behavior accordingly. Either way, orcas are the humans of all things. Moral of the story, Free Willy should have been put on parole. The only thing more black Air Force than an animal that griefs everything around it would be an animal that commits atrocities against its own kind. And that's why orcas are only number 3.
Who are the last two?
Ask any zookeeper what animal they fear the most. If they don't say chimps, they've never worked with one. A common misconception is that chimps are 5 times stronger than the average man. And while the number is actually closer to 1.5, chimps have more fast twitch muscles, a stronger bite force, and a stronger grip force. Their ability to use tools is fascinating to watch, until you realize that means they're able to create and use weapons. People often forget that chimpanzees
smack
are
the-
hunting predators.
Smack the shit out of that chimp with a stick.
And that doesn't just
The other
apply to
chimp.
their prey. Chimps in the Longo National Park have been documenting attacking.
That's terrifying. I would not go anywhere near that. I would be as
Literally no
far away from that as possible.
tendencies of a food.
What was that? Hold on. Let's go back.
National Park have been documenting attacking families of gorillas and murking any helpless offspring they can get their hands on. Literally no animal safe from the violent tendencies of a food storage. But it's the damage they inflict against their
shut that
own
little-
that puts them over.
Oh my gosh.
Tendencies often share the same injuries.
Was that a raccoon that he just yeeted away?
Non-consensual neuter.
I need to see that one more time. I'm
They
sorry.
inflict against their own kind that puts them over. Attacking families of gorillas and murking any helpless offspring they can get their hands on. Literally no animal safe from the violent tendencies of a furious George. But it's the damage they inflict against their own.
Was that a raccoon or a ring-tailed lemur? I don't know.
As his figured face, missing fingers if not entire hands, and a non-consensual neutering. Chimps seem to have an understanding of what's important to an animal, and they go out of their way to remove it. It's what's
Oh
shown
my
in
god.
this picture and
Oh
this.
yeah.
And it's why as an
I
organ donor I have
yeah.
ever named by a chimp, just let me die on my driver's license. And it's also why you probably have a better chance of surviving being locked in a room with a lion than in a room with a furry chainsaw with weapons.
Damn.
Chimp can get pushed
They don't
6 feet under
attack
fire.
anything.
Troop guarantees them a spot on this list. The only way
And they would not care either.
legitimate threat to itself. And that's exactly what number 1 is. But before we reveal number 1, here's some honorable mentions. The Canadian goose. For having the most irrational confidence of any animal. They actually almost went extinct, and now they revolve their entire existence around punishing humanity for it.
Damn.
Because what
They
these
just got ran over.
always have been. Wolverines. Because they're more than capable
Wolverines.
of themselves, but they'd rather tax animals 3 times their size.
Not the Marvel character.
Meerkats. For being quite literally
Meerkats.
the most homicidal mammals on the planet. And now at number 1, to absolutely no one's surprise,
Who is it?
the honey badger. The most
honey badger.
unapologetically disrespectful creature on Earth. I have an entire video dedicated to the exploits of this steroid skunk, but here are some highlights. They'll regularly pinch food from leopards and then throw a tantrum if they get caught. They'll take on packs of animals that realistically should be able to one-shot them. But the Oreo weasel has plot armor in the form of crackhead courage. They'll raid the hives of African bees, the same bees that are 10 times meaner and sting 10 times more than their European cousins. And honey badgers aren't immune to bee stings. They're resistant, but enough stings will flatline a honey badger. But ask the honey badger if he cares. He won't answer, but you know the answer. These prison ferrets also run fades with highly venomous cobras.
Damn,
They'll just slip into a cobra-induced coma and then wake up hours later and walk it off like a Sunday morning hangover. Even the honey badger's idea of
Man, these honey badgers are
as you
savages.
can get. As in, they'll reverse their anal pouches inside out and release a smell so pungent it can allegedly paralyze attacking bees. And honestly, any animal that religiously attacks the baby makers of others is a different tier of menace. No other badger represented this better than Stalk, who once escaped from his enclosure and picked a fight with a neighboring family of lions who nearly mauled him to death. After After about 2 months in the hospital, the first thing the affiliated ferret did fresh out was go right back at the same lines to settle the score. And that was only one of the hundreds of times Stoffel managed to raise the blood pressure of the people around him. But here's the real kicker. Stoffel was actually hand-raised by humans at a young age and therefore imprinted on them. He had no intention of ever leaving. The whole thing was just a game to him. Because if blatant disrespect were a sport, they still wouldn't play it, because anything involving rules goes against a honey badger's belief system. But that's gonna do it for this video. For more consistent content, follow my Instagram and TikTok. I try to post daily on both. To further support this channel, my Patreon's also gonna be in the description. But also, don't feel like you have to give anything. If you watch the video this far, you've already enough. But other than that, water,
look at him dancing.
Don't hug a honey badger. It'll
look at him dance.
Well. And I'll see you in the next one.
Wow. Whew, man. Keep me away from those animals. Here, watch out for that kangaroo. He'll jump on your car and damage your windshield. Oops. There we go. So yeah, that is top 10 animals with Black Air Force energy. My reaction to that video, man, I do not want to be anywhere near these that disrespectful little bastards, or big, rather, depending on how big the animal is, any of them. But anyways, yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, all that awesome stuff. And yeah, that'll be it. Until then, X Factor 1080 signing off. Goodbye.